Hey guys, what's up? It's your girl Ty June, and welcome to Save Me From Myself podcast, first ever live stream. I already got our viewers here. Come on through. Tag anyone you want to bring in with us. For anybody you want to bring in with us, because we're going to talk about a little bit of everything and a little bit of nothing. And so to kick things off, let me go ahead and introduce you to my first guest ever. He is an upcoming comedian. He is a Charlotte native, and he is gonna make it till he breaks it, y'all. So, round of applause for my good friend J. Mike. Woo! What's up? What's
What's
up?
up? What's up? Yeah, it's me. How y'all
Good,
doing?
you. It's him, guys. It's him. He's here.
I'm here in the flesh.
So, as most of you may or may not know, I met Jay 4 years ago, a little bit before the pandemic. So, it was about summer of 2019. And yeah, we've been friends pretty much ever since. He's one of my closest guy friends outside of a few people like Shariko and Josh. This is your guy. Oh, yeah, on the side note, he's very funny. If anyone wants to book him for anything, tell him where they can find you.
Oh man, you can find me on Instagram, Jarrell something at Instagram. I mean, that's my full name, but I go by J Mike. So, but yeah, or you can find me on Facebook. Same thing, Jarrell something.
The
JARRELL. Okay, it's a double R double L.
All right. Oh yeah, by the way, guys, if you do follow him on Instagram, you got to check out his freestyles. They be so random, like things you don't even think about that you be thinking about, and then it be stuff he thinks about that you didn't think about, you thought about. I hope you kept up with me on that.
I mean, I thought about it, and I'm still thinking about it. What was I thinking about? I'll figure it out.
All right, cool. And so I do have two viewers here. Can you let me know if you can hear us?
Please do.
Please do.
I mean, I'll scoot up if I have to. Like, I ain't short, but
I'm working with a new microphone, and I just want to make sure you can hear us. I do see the microphone adjusting accordingly, but yeah, just let me know. And another reason why this podcast is happening on live is that I'm also fundraising for America Foundation for Suicide Prevention. A lot of guys, if you know, you follow me on Instagram, social media, you know that that is a cause that is very, very important to me. And the last time I checked, I was over $436 out of my $500 goal. So if you go into the link of the description of the live stream, you can find my link there, and you can find the donate button at the top of the screen, and you can donate any amounts. You can even be anonymous if you like. It doesn't matter. Anything that you contribute to me will go towards my fundraiser walk in November, and every dollar counts. So yeah.
yeah, man. Just check yourself, man. Don't wreck yourself, okay? Just make sure you just keep yourself in check, man. We can't go that far.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I know, right? Because like I don't know if anyone, I can say I've known people that has been personally affected with struggles with mental health, including myself, and knowing people that I know that aren't here with us anymore that wasn't able to be here today. So there's always this quote I remember, see you tomorrow is one of the things I always say to people that I know that struggle with mental health, because I know you're going through it, but just know you're not alone and that you're always here to help. But just know if you are going through a mental crisis, just dial 988 or text crisis to 7474. Okay? Just remember that, and we always got your back. Okay? So, enough of the semantics. We introduced ourselves. I'm gonna be like, I don't know if you guys remember those talk shows back in the day when they had all the cards. These are my cards. So we introduce ourselves, who, what, when, where, and why. So yeah, why are you here today?
Why am I here?
Why did you decide to come on my podcast out of all podcasts?
I mean, because it was a friendly invite. It wasn't pushed. It wasn't forced. I kind of like your podcast. I try to keep up with them. So I catch myself binge watching them from time to time. But every once in a while, in between time, I find time to get time to watch a podcast. But no, I'm just here One, I mean, it is a very relatable subject for me as far as being single and in my 30s. I don't look it,
He's single, ladies.
Yeah, yeah, that much is very true. But yeah,
Hmm.
and I don't know. That's it, man. I mean, I can say because I love you, because and I love to be here, and I love to just give you some energy to podcast that a lot of people don't really get, and some of these subjects haven't been explored the way I feel like they should be
That
explored,
is so true.
and it's a lot of things that we can go into that has a lot to do with why we are where we are, and why we're in the positions that we are in. So yeah.
And I appreciate it. So like, I'm literally going to segue into the number one question here is like, why are you single? Like, is there a good reason? Is there a bad reason?
Well, honestly, believe it or not, I was the guy who chose to work on himself. Like, I just chose to stay away from relationships, and just get myself into a position where I was good enough to be that guy for somebody. And it took a while to do it, but it was a life journey, and I'm still learning every day. So, but I'm still learning myself to be able to be compatible for somebody else. So, and as I get older, I feel like the time is getting less and less and less. So I'm feeling it as far as like it'd be nice to have somebody now. But before, when I was young and doing silly stuff, I didn't really want to put that energy on anybody else. So and I know a lot of people get together and they're like, oh man, I could have did this differently, and I didn't want to be that guy. And but yeah, that's where I'm at now.
And like, and then in your opinion, like I'm, as for my perspective of like probably one of the reasons why I believe I might be single, is almost kind of like on track with you, is like going through working and figuring yourself out and then making mistakes and messing up. And I want to segue into this one thing I saw on Facebook the other day. There was this post where someone said that, why would a guy want a female if she's been through a lot of guys, or she's been dented or damaged and now she's just on the clearance shelf, right? That's a really deep analogy. I felt some type of way about this post. You ever had a post where there wasn't enough words to type, so you use voice to text because you had a lot to say? That was one of those posts for me. And as far as like the saying, like the growth and the learning, yes, I may be a dented can. Yes, I may be a dented product. But the last time I checked, when you get on the clearance shelf, that means you still got value and you're still trying to work on it and get picked by someone that really wants you. You see what I mean? Like,
I mean, in a sense, I mean, you could say that, but
go ahead.
as a guy, I feel like the less experience a woman has
Hmm.
with dealing with other guys, it's preferred. And it's not that they're trying to be judgmental and they're trying to hold them to a particular standard. It's just that naturally most guys would prefer someone with lesser experience because they want something very novel, and very novel things are what excites a person. And because when you get a new toy, or you get a new car, or you get a new house, you get excited about these things.
Right.
So when you get a new girl that hasn't been touched by so many other guys, it's more enthusiasm. It's more of a, okay, I understand, where she stands. But if there's a list, no matter how long it could be, and everybody has their own number, so that's for you to
Right.
judge. I mean, I'm not going to say, oh, well, this is too high or this is too low, because honestly, that's for you and your partner to
And you
figure
mean
out.
like as far as like body
Right, as
counts?
far as counts, right.
Okay.
And that's for anybody. Like, your count is between you and your person, and if you feel like that's too high, okay. But if you feel like it's reasonable and it's not too much of a damage to what you could build later on, because it's not going to be a projection of old habits and old ways and old things that they went through, that they're going to bring towards the newer relationship. And that's the fear that a lot of guys have in these situations. They don't really care about your body count in that sense. They care about the fact that if you have this much experience, are you going to bring it to them, or are you
Okay.
going to leave it behind?
Right. As far as like everyone says, like, use the word like baggage, or just because
Yeah.
Joseph did X, Y, and Z to me,
Yeah,
then
Macy's had a sale, right? And they went there and they got 20 bags, and they put three things in each bag. And now they figuring out, well, how do I put all this together? I don't really care about all them bags anymore. Can you just set them to the side and I got you a new bag, And there's one thing that you need. That's me. And
Yeah.
moving forward, that
Mhm.
should be the thing. So, yeah, baggage is a
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know if you remember, Jerry Springer went to host a show called, I think it was called Baggage, where it was these random things that people had as like a briefcase. And they were open up to things that they believe are like either their red flag or their baggage that they have. One be like, I stole from my grandmother's wallet. To I recorded myself in the bathroom for my viewers. And then they get to decide if that baggage is worth being with them for or worth pursuing a relationship with them because they never met before. They never met before that day, and they just introduced to them what they consider their baggage. They're like, oh, I smoke 30 packs a day, or I watch too much porn, whatever it may be.
Yeah, 30 packs a day, boy. Golly.
Like he might as well just have his own smoke shop at that point.
You smoke 30 packs a day. You should have every form of lung cancer possible at that point.
Right. We have like, so it's always those things like conditions or contingencies. There's always that element of a relationship. So they were just trying to test how far these people will go. Like this one was like, I eat dog food or something. It was really weird. Like they eat dog food. Is that a deal breaker?
I don't think eating dog food is a deal breaker. I mean, now, okay, if you eat dog food and you acting like a dog, then man, now you've been a B word, and I don't think that's cool. But if you just happen to just eat dog food, I mean,
I don't know, but
that's
I mean,
no worse than black licorice. I mean,
I don't like black licorice
see,
either.
I mean, how many people like black licorice?
Does anyone in the view anyone is viewing like black licorice? Yes,
Says the guy
no.
all black, but I'm just saying, like, that's not something you would.
But it's also like if there's also debate, Twizzlers versus red vines.
Neither.
Neither. I'm a Twizzler person. If I were to pick Twizzlers between red vines, it would be Twizzlers. Red vines taste like cough syrup.
So I like the little sour head with the strings, and it's I don't know what they call
The
it.
sour, like not Sour
think-
Patch Kids.
No, I think they're sour heads.
They're in the pack. Sour heads?
Yeah, they're in long packs,
Mhm.
just like
And it's a straw.
mhm,
Sour straws.
sour straws. Sure.
I remember that. I
Absolutely.
used to go to the Boys and Girls Club. I don't know if you guys ever seen some of my old episodes where I talk about like growing up and like my adolescence. But they used to have a cantina at the Boys and Girls Club, and there was always three things I used to get. It was sour straws, whatever bag of chips was left, and a soda or like a Powerade. And even when I went to camp for a Christian camp, I used to also get a Powerade and a chocolate Hershey bar. And so those were like my go-to 5 things at a cantina. Yeah. Well, anywho, we keep going on tangents. It's okay. We're here. We're walking out. All that good stuff. So, why do you think I'm single? And I'll do a real flip flop.
What I think you're single,
Mm-hmm.
based
Just a different
on,
POV.
I mean, based on the years that we've known each other, and from what I can observe, um, that's a good question. I mean, I'll probably say, like, honestly, you probably are. I feel like you are in being in the position that you are, being as independent as you are, it makes it as though you don't need a man in your life per se. So I feel like the only reason why you're single is because you haven't got to the point where you feel like you want somebody to be there. And for whatever reason, whatever you got going on, whether it's, family matters, work matters, or just all around life, or just head matters, it can be psychological, it can be physical, it doesn't matter. But it's like until you get to the point where you want somebody to be there, that is why you're still single. Because you don't need anybody for anything.
Right. I like that perspective. Yeah, like it's like, yeah, I don't need anyone for anyone, but it's the whole thought of like, I don't need you around, but I would love you around. I would want someone to be with me. But like again, I always use this analogy about your 2 plants in a garden.
I would love $1 million until I want to go get it. I'm not going.
Oh,
get
I
it.
see what you. It's
You
like
see what I'm
okay,
saying?
so you're saying as far as this perspective of the want being the catalyst of like the motivation.
like you have to put yourself in the environments and the situations and circumstances to actually be in a courtship of some sort or
Hmm.
to meet someone or know somebody. But until you do actually get yourself into those elements, you're gonna just meet the same people, know the same people, which is who you work with and who you live with. So
Yeah.
it's like until you want that person to be there, you have to expose yourself to those environments where that person will be there.
Right. And then, of course, you knowing me that I don't really go out as much as I used to in those environments. So that can also contribute to
And the
the
problem about
limited.
being a guy, okay, we like to be needed, okay?
Okay.
We want to be needed. If you don't need me, bye. I
Hmm.
holler at you. I see you. I mean, there's some of us are like that. Some of us will just stick around for whatever reason. But a lot of guys are like, well, if we're not needed for something, if I'm not even needed for a project, if I'm not needed for a business meeting, if I'm not needed for a construction, situation or whatever, if you don't need me, I don't want to be there. And so
Hmm.
when you don't need a person or a guy in that situation, it's like, well, that makes it even more difficult for a person to be able to create those bonds, that they want or
Hmm.
desire. But it's like, well, why? And what purpose do I have? They need a purpose. We all need a purpose.
Yeah.
Period. At the end of life, you all should have some kind of purpose, or
Right.
find that purpose, or work on it, or whatever.
Right.
But the purpose is to have the purpose. And when you respect his ability to maintain and obtain that purpose, then it makes him happy. It just does.
Right.
Um, and everything else that falls in place as far as what kind of lifestyle you live. Because
Hmm.
honestly, it boils down to conversation. You talk things out, you figure it out. You don't talk things out, then when you do figure it out, it becomes a problem.
Right.
So it's like if you have this conversation in the beginning, like, hey, listen, as a guy, I know I'm the better cook.
Right.
So let me do the cooking, you
Hmm.
do the cleaning. You know, I know you don't like really, I know you might have this little germ, situation. You might be like, semi, germophobic. Okay, cool. I'll take out the trash. But look, can you like throw the bag in as soon as I take it outside so I ain't got to worry about doing that? That'll be helping each other with those situations.
Yeah. Like just
And
like the little things.
yeah, it's little things. It doesn't
Hmm.
have to be major. It doesn't have to be, that significant. If I'm a gardener and you're a farmer, then you take care of the chickens and I'll take care of the plants. I mean, that's just how you should roll. But
Right.
you
It's
know,
facts. Because like, and then also too, the if you don't mind me switching the roles and my why I can say why I think you're single. A lot of things like when it comes because even like with like you saying like for men wants a woman that wants them in your respects this guy will do stuff and I feel like it's not him it's more so the women of our day and age where they don't understand like the whole concept when I said like a unicorn he's a unicorn just as much I feel like that I am when they do get a guy that does things and contributes to them and care they're like oh my god what is this I've never had this before. What do I do with this? And then they don't know what to do with them. And so then they revert back to what they're comfortable with or what they're used to doing and not learn how to adjust to something new.
I mean, I can get that a lot,
Hmm.
and I feel like I get into the friend zone situation because I am a nice guy, but at the same time, I'm like, well, I was always taught and I was, learned to treat a woman, any woman, regardless of who she is, with some dignity and respect and some, rapport. Like, I mean, I don't feel like chivalry is quote unquote dead. I just feel like people don't care enough to maintain standards.
Hmm.
And that goes across the board for beyond chivalry and beyond just, showing your love sign as far as, giving and nurturing because I was raised by my mom mostly. Even though my dad was there, he was great. Don't get me wrong, but he was a great provider.
Hmm.
My
Hmm.
mom was the advice giver. My mom was the caretaker. My mom was the one to make sure that I understood, the world and what was around me because she exposed me to a lot of things. I mean, I've been to Disney World twice.
Hmm.
I've been to, many different states across the, United States and having that exposure and my mom allowing to me to see these things, like
Right.
allow me to know, like, it's more out there. But that influence was from a feminine based, learning.
Right.
So I have that nature, but at the same time, it's a very catering and nurturing nature. But it's not the typical. aggressive, domineering type person that a lot of people seem to gravitate towards. But and it's like I'm not a simp because I ain't gonna fall for much of anything. Like
Yeah.
after one time, you show me signs of basically you not interested. So am I.
Right.
Straight like that. It don't take but one time. You don't have to tell me twice. You don't have to tell me once. I can see for myself. If
Mhm.
I call somebody and they're lacking communication and they don't
Yeah.
reply back in a decent, I would say decent time frame, and decent can be, 1 or 2 days, 3 days. That's fine. You have a life, you live it. That's great.
Right.
But in a couple of days, say, hey man, I apologize. I was busy with this. Blah, blah, blah. What's up? What's going on?
Yeah, as long as they said something.
Exactly. But a
Mhm.
lot of people will not communicate, and a lot of people will stop, reaching out to you. I'm like, well, okay, well, the moment you stop, so will I.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I'm a very giving person. I mean, if I see something, and it's a courteous thing to do because it's not something that most people gravitate towards doing. But if I know something that you like,
Right.
if I know you like candy, a particular kind of candy, I like this particular kind of Reese's. You know what I do? I go to the store and I buy that Reese's and I give you that Reese's without you even asking me to do it because
Right.
it's a courteous thing to do.
Mhm.
And people they reject that because that's a type of love that they don't really
They
get
don't know what to do
and
with
they
it.
don't
Like,
understand
huh?
it. And they're
Like, what you
wait,
want in return? You want
I,
something in return now?
and genuinely, I don't want anything.
But that's what they're. I feel like the women have been so unfortunately indirectly trained to think that everything is a give or take. So yeah. Now, oh my God, Jarrell just dropped off me some Kit Kat. So I'll say now does he want some punani now? Does he want to
Lou, if it
whatever?
was that easy, honestly, girl, I will be the candy man. Not like the scary movie version, but I mean like the real neighborhood corner store candy man. What? All I gotta do is get you some candy in the pants. What?
But then that goes back to
But
almost in the way of this is why I kind of do think chivalry is dead. And I feel like between society and okay, I know this is gonna be a hot take, but I'm gonna be the first one to tell you. I think women themselves killed chivalry. And the reason for that is because I feel like since we have access to social media and everything in between, that I feel like I can do better. Like back in the day, you only saw like maybe the same 30, 40 women in your neighborhood on the daily basis. And so you're more likely to be like, oh, I see Tanya at the grocery store like 2 times a week. So I'm going to holler at her one day, take her out to eat, wine her, dine her, try to impress her because there's also another only 30, 40 guys in town, right? But now I have access to millions and millions of men in the palm of my hand. So I feel like since we have a reason to be pickier, we have a variety of times to be like, oh, I'm gonna try you out. So like, oh, I'm on a date today. I'm gonna go on a date tomorrow. I'm gonna meet up with another guy on Thursday. I'm gonna meet another guy on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I'm like literally doing trial runs with who I think is there. So it doesn't matter if you bring flowers anymore. That's not enough. It doesn't matter if you bring the chocolate anymore. It's not enough because I know they're gonna be like, oh, that guy bought me a Camaro or he bought me shoes. You see, I think women killed chivalry. I don't think men did. Men are um adaptive beings. We're women are like the more emotional and more of the empathetic, so loving beings, and men are more strategic and you know figure out what
we're
everything
pretty
is.
logical in
Yeah.
a sense.
So if I told you to get that 10 out of 10 girl over there, you have to be a bad boy, would you do it? You weigh the pros and cons and then assess essentially.
I'll be as bad as I can be
Mm-hmm.
and adjust to whatever
Right.
appeals to the situation. But
If all the girls on the planet only like bad boys, I
I
know
would,
there are gonna be men that are gonna just start being bad boys. If it was like the whole thing like nice guys finish last, I mean that's somewhat true. Because a lot of times it goes back to like the animal kingdom thing we were talking about earlier, like the aggression and the predatorial nature of being chased, and women are thinking that's what love is, or that's what we've been directly trained to think that's what men are supposed to do, and that's not really the case. Men are not supposed to be doing that. I don't know.
well, society has changed a lot, and I feel like we've kind of been geared towards being more individuals and less families over time. So it's like a lot of key factors that influence us through the media, through just our daily lives, work,
Mhm.
food itself. It's because think about it. Back in the day when there was not as many restaurants, there's not as many places that you can go to eat.
Mhm.
You will have to eat with the family or the friends or people close by.
Right.
But as time progressed, and now we have DoorDash, so
Okay.
it's like, all right, bet. He don't feel like cooking. She don't feel like cooking. Bet DoorDash.
Right.
I'll see you later. Click. So it's like it's so easy to individualize yourself and separate yourself from other people. And I feel like society has influenced us in that way over time to boost the economy a lot.
Yeah.
Even though right now we're probably in a not a great position with the inflation and
Quiet recession,
you know
whatever they're calling it.
whatever they want to say it is. But it has a lot to do with the virus, and it has a lot to do with kicking back from that whole 2 year debacle,
Mhm.
and hopefully we never see anything like that ever again. But
Yeah, like I said, I'm done with the first time in history of.
yeah, I don't want
I
the
don't know
first
about
time
you.
of anything anymore. I want it to be something I've seen like already 3-4 times over, so I'm not surprised because there's been a lot of surprises lately.
Very much.
But I like surprises, just good ones, not bad ones.
Mhm.
But no, and the thing is, I felt like we've all been kind of, you know, I don't want to say people are brainwashed, and I don't want to feel like we're in a matrix or anti-reality. I
You
mean,
sure we're not?
I don't want to use those terms. I mean, if that's what you want to call it, that's fine.
Yeah,
But
no.
there is
Mhm.
a systematic way of getting people to believe something over time if they see
Mhm.
enough of it and if
Right.
they're exposed to it enough. If we've been exposed to so much, because back in the day,
Mhm.
you couldn't get to any porn on any site like you want to now. You
Right.
would have to find a random videotape or
Go to
a
the
magazine
store.
that your big bro got in the
The
back that
JC
he
Penney
hide up under the
catalog.
mattress. But or yeah, you can go to see the little semi-nude magazines. This is as close as you're gonna get. But
Yeah.
now you have so much access to information, and the speed that you get it at, it changes a person's mindset because that makes us more of an instant gratification, society, and less of building something to be more than what it was. And
Yeah.
and I'm like, okay, this is difficult, but
Mhm.
I mean, I just try to, like you said, be flexible with the situation.
Right.
And why I am single, because it's like, well, I don't want to be too headstrong and then put myself in a situation what I do regret later. So it's like, well, what else do I do other than continue to what's worked for me?
Mhm.
So that's part of it too. But still, part of me still wants to have more than what I have now. And do I want to get married? Do I want to have kids? I mean, I don't know, because it's
Yeah.
hard. It's hard
Yes.
out there for a pimp nowadays.
Right.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So now the hoes are slapping back, and I'm telling you right now, like they pimp hand is getting really strong every day. So
Right.
I don't know, but I mean, I still stay in my lane and still do the best I can because I have, in some sense, done more than what I normally do to expose myself to more people. So
Right.
I am doing a little bit of getting myself out there. And I'm not bar hopping. I'm not going to any clubs, but
Okay.
I don't believe in doing those things to find anybody. I mean, if you do, that's great. But
Mhm.
there are different, avenues and events and things that you can do to, meet people and hopefully find somebody that you actually can connect with. So
Right. Because even too, like recently, I've gone to places by myself a lot. Like if you're not available and like two, three other people I know aren't available, I'm going by myself. I went to Dessert Wars by myself. I met some people there. I went to the Vegan Fest like 2 weekends ago. Met some people there. And of course, I do kickboxing and go to my gym all the time, so I always meet people there. But it's unfortunate. It's really weird. I work out at a kickboxing boxing gym, but there's more women in there than guys. So I don't know. The ratio must be broken somewhere. It must be, it's a men's world. I've not lately because I feel like there's every 9 women. I think there's like one guy.
oh wow.
Yeah, but the whole unfortunately too, men also are tasked to do the more dangerous jobs. Men are born the most, but strategically speaking, you guys take on more dangerous jobs. Therefore, the life expectancy is lower. But we're here because of that ratio. So then, if you ever were to match every man with every woman on the planet, they'll most likely been 10% of the men will not have anybody. So then you guys are even still in a really weird position because you still got to fight for that. I don't know why. I don't think fighting is the right word. I want to use something else. It's not even fight. It's not that you're fighting for love or attention or relationship because you like again we don't need them per se. According to you, I know you say otherwise. I know you. The
I ain't even say nothing yet.
no.
I'm just listening. I mean,
No, I know you because you're like I can't remember we were talking about something. It was just like just the thought of like hugs and someone's energy and someone's aura around you says a lot, and not even in the relationship sense, which is just because we're beings. You say we were
well,
we're we're the beings to be with people. We're intended to be with people.
yeah, well, we're social beings,
Mm-hmm.
and we do have a
I see you, Sharika.
sure go, hey, what's up? What's up? How you doing? Come on in. But as social beings, we do have what I would like to say is a dopamine release from, and dopamine is basically just this chemical in your brain that makes you feel good. And when you feel good, you like it and you want to do more of it. And when you have these social bonds with other people, it actually makes you feel good. So that's why people like affection and being in social interactions, and that's why you would, you know, go to the concert with your buddies and it feels
Mm-hmm.
better versus you going to, watching it on the, the screen at home and just seeing, other people there. I mean, for introverts, it works perfectly, but
Mm-hmm.
for those that do want to get out and actually do something and experience, the actual social connection that they have with other people, that's a thing that they actually enjoy doing. So, but at the same time, as
Right.
far as we seek validation,
Mm-hmm.
true. But at the same time, when a person gets enough rejection, then it kind of makes them, disassociate from the things that they feel like would be, you know, not good for them. So that's why if you go to the, you go out enough and you feel like, man, I still haven't met anybody, you'll start going out and you'll kind of, get into
Yeah.
yourself
Yeah.
and you'll create this barrier or shelter around yourself because you're like, well, I've got enough no's. So I
Mm-hmm.
guess I'll just fall back and stay away from them as much as possible. So, and we just do that as people,
Naturally, yeah, because
naturally.
I hate that you say that because it kind of goes back to like what I'm about to say. People have never believed me because I've told my exes this too, and they still don't believe me. When I go out, I don't get hit on. Don't know why. I don't get hit on. I tell my exes this all the time. They never believe me. I'm like, oh, that's a lie. No, whatever, whatever. I'm like, so that like going through high school and stuff like that affected my being a lot because my confidence. I'm like, so no one wants to talk to me. What's wrong with me? Oh my God. Right. And so then you just kind of just stop trying. Cause like the moment you try, you get rejected and you don't try, you still get rejected. It's like, what do I do? I don't try, nothing happens. I do try, nothing happens. So then you just go do nothing. And then whatever. And so just whatever happens, happens.
Well, being that I don't know how empathetic other people are, but I
Mm-hmm.
am very empathetic to people's energies, and I feel like it kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier that when you do want somebody to be with you,
Yeah,
like
yeah, we're
other
talking about
people feel that that energy as well, and when you're kind of evasive or kind of
the
reserved
brute and
and
aggressive
right a
and
bit
intimidating.
yeah, intimidating, a bit masculine, a bit,
Yeah.
you know, sometimes possibly overbearing. Not saying you are to me, but some people can perceive that. So when they get that energy, like, well, I don't know if I should approach this person,
Mm-hmm.
So it's like kind of like I don't know, a instinct or ability to feel like somebody wants you to approach them or not.
Mm-hmm.
And now the things that I've seen online through memes and whatnot, I think they're quite ridiculous, but I think there's people that's exaggerating because they are on film. But in most normal situations, people don't really, overreact or have, such harsh things to say to a person just because they say, hey, what's your name, where you from, what's your number, like,
Yeah.
but I've seen some things. But in most situations, people are pretty, docile and pretty cool about it. But at the same time, a lot of people will feel the energy or the vibe that a person is giving off, like if they want to be approached or not. And if you are kind of like good with body language and picking up what people say, and if they're pretty expressive with their body, they'll show you like if their backs are turned or they're
Yeah.
looking kind of
Or like inward and
yeah,
away, or
if they're not wanting to face you, that's a thing too. So
yeah.
I'm no researcher or doctor. I just pay attention to stuff. Like I'm nobody expert. I promise you. I read books. I read a lot.
Oh my God, he reads.
Yeah.
Ladies, he reads.
Stephen King, John Grisham. I can go through a list.
Stephen King, Stephen King. Because Shariko does horror and found footage.
Yeah.
In
one of my
films.
favorites.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, no, it's just the whole concept. Like, is it okay? We can go back into the past.
Yeah.
So I had a bullet point of like past relationships and I call those the trying times. Like I say, like past relationships are just you building experience for yourself. But do you have any past relationships where either A, you learned something from that you use now, or B, C, or D, where there was just, it wasn't what you were looking for? What could be, I guess what I'm trying to say is like, what are some contributing factors of why your relationships are past, or why your exes are your exes?
Well, I mean, I can honestly say that I don't really have many exes to even boast about. Like I got one.
Fake it till you make it.
Fake
it till you make it.
No. Right. I mean, I got one.
Okay.
But
no, yeah.
Other than that, I was in a lot of, I guess, really mostly platonic, situations with. I've been in a lot of situationships. I say that.
Okay.
But and some were intimate and some were not. But most times, I did learn that the interaction with that particular person, one does have to adjust like who they are. And I'm not going to say you have to change who you are, but you do have to adjust to the temperament of the person that you're dealing with, because I dealt with a lot of different people.
Mm-hmm.
And not a lot, like a whole lot, like
Yeah.
not hundreds of people, but dealing with different individuals, and you see how they are, what they, because I respond to everybody in a very similar manner, so I'm very consistent. So if I take you out, if I buy you things, or I do what I normally would do for anybody, and the way they respond is how I learned, well, should I be reserved in this nature, or should I be more aggressive in that factor, but not necessarily changing up who I am, but adjusting how I handle different things, I guess.
Like just like try to fuse like the puzzle pieces accordingly. Like you're not getting rid of the whole puzzle. You're just trying to make sure there is enough and it fits in that space.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
In a sense.
Yeah.
But I haven't really. I mean, I don't really date, and I ain't gonna lie, I haven't dated. I just meet people. It was easy, man. Listen, I'm gonna tell you right now, straight up. Back in the day, all I had to do was know your grandma, your auntie, or your cousin. Because if I know those three people, I got you. It was just that easy. It was like, hey, Jarrell's such a nice man. He's such a swell guy. You should go hang out with him. And sure enough, we hung out.
Hey, I do remember that.
We hung out, and then we hung out. And that was it. It was it.
Right.
But as I got older, and I strayed away from that, and I actually was focusing on myself and who I am and what I want to be. And then I wanted to actually, go on actual dates and courtship and yeah, man, it's worse than a physics book, because I can tell you right now, like, people are very interesting nowadays because they've gone through a lot and they have a lot of experience. Like I'm in my 30s, remember. I know I look 20, 20 what? 24, 25. I think I look about 26. 26. I look 26 on a good day. But look, I'm 30 something. And the thing is, a lot of other 30-year-olds have a lot of experience that they have in their book of life. And the thing is, it's like when you flip through that book and you start reading it, then you realize, how much has happened to that person. It's very difficult to create a newer bond that they can respond to because of all that old stuff that still was in that book. Now, how you clean that slate, I don't know, but it's there. It's pretty prevalent.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, for myself, it's like, well, do I date outside my age range? But then what is my age range? So I'm like, what? Because the last girl, the actual girlfriend actually had, like, we had like a 10-year, 11-year gap. So,
Oh, right. All right. Yeah.
and being that huge age gap wasn't necessarily the problem per se. I think it was a lack of communication and honesty and interest on her part, because all she had to say was that she wasn't really interested. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, okay, ain't no way in the world you can tell me back when we had lockdown. You remember lockdown, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody had to be in the house, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
you could go to work, you can go home, but you had to be home because of the virus. Okay,
Right.
how you posting on social media your new man and we on lockdown? Like, like how you doing that though?
I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. That's what happened. Like, I'm not like, I want to be funny. That's not a joke. That really happened. And I was like, I can't believe this person actually is posting on social media. We on lockdown. We're supposed to be locked in the house. You're supposed to not go nowhere, touch nobody, no distance, 6 feet everywhere, 6 feet in the house. You're supposed to be 6 feet away from yourself. You're supposed to be astral projection 6 feet above yourself when you go to sleep. Like, everybody gotta go hit up Dr. Strange. We're like, Dr. Strange, man, we gotta get some astral projections going on, man. We 6 feet too close to our bodies right now. We gotta be 6 feet hovering above. Like, seriously, like, and I'm like, really? So I understood there was a lack of interest in the relationship, and I was just like, because we didn't fight, we didn't argue, we didn't have any issues. It wasn't even, it wasn't anything domestic. It wasn't anything like that at all. We were very cordial. We were very fine. But I understood that, the less you wanted to go out with me and the less interest that you showed, that I was like, well, you're just forcing it. You just don't want to say no. But don't do that to people, because, I mean, you can be nice, but don't, have people misled.
Yeah, don't waste my time.
Like, I can tell you no very nicely. I always tell you, well, how do you say this without saying this? Well, the thing is, I'm quite bored. No, that's too mean. That's too
no,
mean.
It's not. That's like,
that's mean. I don't know. I wasn't gonna tell somebody I'm bored, but
that is straightforward.
What? Yeah, that is pretty straightforward. But I will at least tell somebody that my interest that I felt that I had in the beginning is not really there, and I don't want to, drag this on to waste your time. But I do appreciate, everything that you've done, and that's a nice way of saying it. Yeah.
Easy communication.
Yeah, just say it, man.
Communicate.
Like, I appreciate the candy and flowers, bro. But listen, I don't want to send them back because I already ate the candy. The flowers kind of wilted a little bit. See, I had left them with my cousin, and I was like, water the flowers every day, and they was like every other day. So yeah, but anyways, I appreciate it, but I don't feel like I want to pursue anything further, and that's really easy.
Yeah.
But a lot of people get very defensive, and
what did I do? Why you don't want to be with me no more? Like, huh? Why is this happening?
I just don't want to be.
No. Who is it? Is it Keisha from down the way? See, I told you she was going. Okay. Yeah. Did I do that right?
It could be another person. It could not. Yeah, they tend to blame. I wouldn't go as far as Keisha because I don't know about Keisha.
I don't know. That was just the first one I could think of. Like, DMX always starts with Keisha, so I guess.
Stacey at the corner store, though. Yeah. But anyways, but in all seriousness, though, it's it's a thing that I've noticed that we all have an issue with nowadays is properly communicating with each other.
Even though we have everything.
And that's what's killing me the most, because we have gotten faster computers, we've gotten more access to information. And we have the ability to know pretty much anybody without even having to meet them. But yet we don't reach out to people and actually physically say, hey, I acknowledge your existence, and they do to some degree, but a lot of time it's criticism and it's, this people bashing. And I'm like, you shouldn't acknowledge people like that.
Right.
But, and I'm not saying you should praise everybody, but acknowledge another person's existence. And, if I say, hey, I'd just like to know that you're okay, because I know you went across the seas, and if you can just, send me some kind of sign, anything, a text message, a phone call, or email, a smoke signal. You can send a hard drive over here. You can load up a USB and ship it over by mail, or it's a lot of different ways you can get a hold of somebody. You know,
Mhm.
you can Skype, you can Zoom. I mean, it's a lot of things you can do to communicate with people. And yet we're on our phones all the time, we're on
So
our
like then
devices.
it's like not then what's the excuse?
Um,
I don't know either.
yeah, it's ourselves. We
Because I feel like since it is so easy that we don't put effort in.
yeah, that's
Like even like in my last episode, I was talking about how like when you want to meet someone like a friend, like remember how you had to tell your mom you met someone and they said they want to go hang out. And then your mom said you got to meet that parent first. And then they would schedule who was going to pick up whom and who was going to drop whom, parent was going to take where and where they want to go and how long they're going to be gone for. And then you can say green light. But now it's like, since I don't have to put that much effort into meeting someone or seeing someone, then we're so laxed. We're so like, okay, it's
if all I got to do
too
is check
easy.
my DMs or swipe left or swipe right. I mean,
It's too easy. But like if you did that physically, then you would probably put more effort in it because more time is being used to try to pursue that person or pursue that time
yeah.
because it's valuable. But now that it's only 2 seconds versus 2 hours, no one's going to really put effort into that because it's not necessary anymore.
Man, true story. So back in the day, right, there was these books. Okay, they were big and they were yellow, right,
Mhm.
and they had phone book across. Okay,
Oh, phone
and
book?
in the phone book, right, what you could
Mm-hmm.
do is you literally all you had to know was a person's name. Okay,
Right, right.
and you would go in the phone book and it was in alphabetical order, and you would
Ah.
find uh Jarrell Sumter. Okay, you just go all the way to the S's, boom, and go down to the SU and
Mm-hmm.
Jarrell Sumter, and it will have all my number right there, and maybe my address if they updated. I think that happened later, but maybe not. But your phone number is definitely there, and you can call me up and say, "Hey, found you in the phone book, man. What's up?" You don't even have to do that anymore.
Yeah.
Like it's just people's information. You just go online and within 20 seconds. I mean, you can find
Anything and everything.
their last three phone numbers, their last
Yeah.
two addresses,
Yeah.
and probably the last three siblings that they were involved with in whatever situation they was involved in. Like
Yeah.
it goes that deep, and I'm like, okay,
Yeah. It's like, man, phone books.
$12.99 background check. But yeah,
Not sponsored.
no, I mean
I'm kidding.
yeah, not sponsoring anybody.
And when you brought up the thought of like, the effort and stuff, like, I'm bring up the story that the last attempt that I tried to be with a guy, and I think I told you the story. The guy at the mechanics, the speedy guy. Did I tell you that story?
Yeah, I know about
Okay. So long story short, I went to Speedy, oil change, easy. The guy at the counter, really cool looking guy. Just found out he just moved here from Florida. So he was like he'd been only here for like 2 months, 4 months, fresh Floridian in the Carolinas. He found he had hurt his ankle. So I'm sitting here because it's taking so long for my car was in so much done. My car was in there for probably like 3 hours. So him being at the counter, we had time to like talk about stuff and figure out what we liked and all this stuff. So we finally changed numbers. And long story short, I even think I told Sharika about this too. Long story short, we were like talking back and forth, and then it will immediately went to send me a picture of you, right? And I'm like, based off that 3 hours I was with the guy, that never came off to him wanting to just pursue a sexual interaction, and that was it. Because generally speaking, you're not wasting 3 hours.
I mean, I've already seen you face to face for 3 hours. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I'm not necessarily going to ask you for a pic. So
Right. And so for a joke, he asked me to send a picture of you. And so I literally went online and sent him a picture of the letter U. And I just thought that was funny. But he didn't take it as funny. And don't get me wrong, he sent me a picture of him first. And did he? I can't remember if it was full birthday suit or not. This is how much I didn't care anymore after I deleted everything. I don't remember. But I think he sent us a photo of a full birthday suit, and I didn't engage with it. I didn't know how to engage with it. It's like this was only 2 weeks. We were only talking back and forth for 2 weeks. And it's like, what did I give off to say that I thought this is where that was gonna go?
I wasn't there. I'm not going to say you did, but I
He just
mean,
saw the curvaceousness. Let me stop. Um but it's the whole thought. I'm like, if you wanted just a plaything, Say that first. Say that right out. Don't go 2 weeks and then send a nude pic and then be like, huzzah, like it was supposed to just go so smooth.
Well, given that I know the caliber of the conversation that you have with the guy, it is
Hmm.
kind of offsetting that it would do that because he wasn't very communicative, in the 2 weeks that y'all did talk. So it
Right.
wasn't like he was building up anything whatsoever.
Hmm.
So,
There was no foundation. There
you
wasn't
know,
any kind of anything there. I don't think I gave any information to where it. But the thing here is too, going back to what we were talking about earlier. Did he think that was the normal way to get someone that way because he's done it before? Has he thought that always worked in the past? So he just keeps doing that repetitively, doing that system to think because that's what all women want, or that's what he perceived it works for all women? Because again, no offense, I do think the way you date does base off your region. So based nothing against Florida, but I know I have a sister that lives in Miami. Miami's fast, right? So maybe he thought that was the normal way of either laying down with somebody or just whatever, right? I don't know. I didn't like it. I let him know I didn't. And then the next thing you know, I blocked him and I don't have his number in my phone anymore. And the next time I get an oil change, I'm probably not going to that location. Even though it's the closest one to my house, I'm going to find another one.
I don't know. They might try to see you get your discount. Like, yeah, I think I remember you. You
I
said you were
hope
gonna give me 20% off.
no. He actually did though, ironically.
There you go.
But it was the thought of like, let me get my glow up on and then come back in there like next year or something. Because I mean, I probably need another oil change because I had a newer car. But it's like, hey, you remember me? I hope do you or do you not remember me? I hope he remembers it. But then it's also the question if he's even still working there.
Yeah, potentially that could be a thing too.
So it'd be interesting. So I tried it to initiate it. The thing is, I don't initiate as much as I used to. And again, some guys are intimidated when a woman initiates a number. And then there's also a lot of women that believe that only the men should initiate, which I don't agree with. But I actually like, hey, let me get your number. And then yeah, here we are. I don't remember his name right now. I my We're using my phone to stream, so I can't even look in my phone and be like, oh yeah, it was this guy. I don't remember his name. Wasn't that important? Oh well, yeah. What did he do? It's like even like with at least with my past relationships, like it's been a while. I've been single for what is it? October, probably like 2 years. Yeah, I've been single for 2 years. Well, I don't think it's been 2 years. I'm the sad one in this situation. You were with oh girl last year, earlier this year.
2019.
19 was like your official last one. Jeez. But I mean, past
Yes.
relationships, like I know I learned a lot. Like I even know, you know, I even bring up the relationship. I always bring up Josh or Joshua as an example because that was my last relationship that I can compare to or use as a foundation or something. I learned a lot about myself from my last relationship. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't the greatest and it wasn't the worst, but I learned myself and my value. And then like and the thing is, no matter what you believe in, God, faith, Buddha, whoever that may be, I believe there's people that come in your life either for a long time or a short time. And they're there to give you a lesson or give you some kind of information and move on, and that's okay. So whatever it may have been, I learned a lot from that relationship, and I took out of that I should value myself more. Don't settle for the crumbs, or don't settle for the not calling Josh a crumb. That's not the analogy I should use, but not to just think that I should just settle just because, if that makes sense.
I wouldn't say it was settling. What I say is that is actually more tolerance, because what we
That's the
do
word.
is we tolerate a lot of certain things that people tend to do
Hmm.
that we know are not something that we agree with or that we like or just downright just gets on your nerves. So it's like when you tolerate these things for an extended amount of time, what happens is you become too passive, and then either people explode or they implode. and and going towards the suicide route, and that's the thing. Like, don't implode because that will bring you and yourself to an end. But and then at the same time, you could explode and then go off on whomever, whether it's that person or somebody else's is in a way, and you check it out on them. So that's what happens is that we tolerate to a buildup, and it's just like pressure that builds. You got a pot steaming up, boiling up, and then once the pressure builds up to a certain extent to where the lid can't cover it, pops off.
Right.
So and that's what we tend to do, and that's a very bad thing, I'd say.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So yeah, that it was a very explosive relationship, and it's okay. Like, it was a mutual understanding of separation, but it's it's really weird because you always feel like if you saw this person in 10 years and then they're in a different state, then it may work again. Who knows? I feel like it could be one of those things, but I don't know because I don't know what the future holds. But it's a thought that, yeah, we probably just weren't in the right places we were supposed to be in our lives or in our eternal selves, to where maybe later down the line, 10 years from now, maybe we could be in what we should have been. I don't know. Past relationships. Like, I was like, so you heard my that was that was my shoulder. I told you I'd be kickboxing and boxing, and I'm in my 30s, and so yeah, that everyone's seen that meme where it's like going up the stairs when your birth year starts with a 19.
no, yeah.
Yeah, that one.
Well, yeah, I'm an '80s baby, so yeah.
So it's actually ironic that I brought up the next topic, like with beliefs. So like God, spirituality, um, and we can go back into going into our topics of beliefs, religious or otherwise, into the societal thoughts of marriage and those kind of things and how those kind of wrap around. So I remember you stated a bit ago that you don't know if you want to be married, you don't know if you want children, but I mean, I guess it has to be that the penultimate person that will probably change your views on that. So as far as now, are you open again, like going back to me, like, are you open to the fact, or are you closed off to the fact, or are your law of attraction heading towards marriage, and does your beliefs that you have reflect the marriage?
Well, it's two things.
Mm-hmm.
There's law, and then there's nature. And by nature, I do want a bondsmanship of some magnitude with somebody
Mm-hmm.
for an extensive amount of time. But the laws that we have in place in this particular society make it very difficult to want to maintain the standards that were created by the natural desire to be with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
So there were a lot of factors as far as the ability for a person to just leave on a whim, and with that in place, it makes it more difficult for someone to go that route. Now, to say, could I have a life partner? Of course.
Mm-hmm.
But to legally bind myself to a situation, it's debatable because, one, if you boil it down to trust, if I trust you enough, I'm never going anywhere. So,
Mm-hmm.
and vice versa. But at the same time, if there is an ability to aid ourselves in a financial standard in that sense, then I would think about possibly, going the legal marriage route. If like combining, what I have with what you have and putting it legally on paper makes it better for both of us, then okay, fine. But as far as the actual relationship part of the deal, like I don't feel like the legal part is necessary because by nature, when you do, when olden times, I'd say, when they were all in the same village, like those were who you knew, those were who you loved, and those were who you shared, everything with,
Right.
and you didn't question it. So, but now you can question everything nowadays, and it makes it so easy to not want to maintain certain relationships and certain bonds that I feel like were done before where we are now. So,
Right. Because even like I don't know if you guys are familiar with the group Kiss. but Gene Simmons had a reality show called Family Jewels. I think it was on A&E, like one of those like reality TV shows, kind of like Run DMC had his. And so, literally, Gene Simmons was happily unmarried for 40 years. I think he just married his girlfriend like 5 years ago after their kids left, after their kids like moved out of the house and graduated and did all that from college. Then he married his girlfriend. They were living in the house, doing everything they were doing and everything hit whatever, and were never married.
And those are exceptions to the rules. I
Hmm.
mean, and
So he's a good.
sometimes
I feel like Gene Simmons is not a good example. The situation. Sorry, I'm thinking about his influence in the rock and roll world, but the choices that they made as far as not being married for whatever reason. I don't know the underlining reason why they were never married, but he said that he didn't need to. It was like you said, like you're saying, it was just known. It was just known. It was no one questioned it.
well, yeah, when you used to jump the broom, that was the thing. That's where that term came from. You jump the broom. That just means, hey, we are leaving our old life into the new life, and we're going to jump over this, this hurdle or this obstacle together, and we're going to do everything together moving forward. So, you don't have to have a legal binding document to notate or dictate that. You just
Right.
understand the person that you're with,
And then the lawyers got bored because marriage was created and these I can't remember I don't know if you guys, if you haven't, Adam Ruins Everything. Have you seen those?
Mhm.
Adam Ruins Everything. He has one for marriage. I remember that. Adam Ruins Everything, and he ruined marriage based off a historical point of view. He does everything from like marijuana to marriage to politics to even the wall, right? But he was talking about how marriage was created in a financial point. Marriage was only created to make money. Marriage is a business. It never was anything else but that. The wedding dress, the ring, the traditional sense how the rules that the groom's mother-in-law has to be the one to pay for it, or all those concepts was like. And then if your wedding wasn't 100, 100 grand galore, then you didn't love me because my wedding didn't look like you did. So it was more of a business. The wedding catalogs, the wedding magazines, the every kiss begins with K, like all that was just a lucrative business. Marriage is an underlining organized crime. And it's hilarious to look at that. So Adam Ruins Everything will break stuff down like that, and it's great. But marriage is literally a mob, organized crime family situation.
I mean, well, you couldn't call it racketeering, 'cause,
Yeah. But it's like
but I don't know, possibly some.
the dress costs this, the ring costs this, the venue costs no, that was never necessary.
Yeah, true.
Some magazine came out, some lady was like, oh, we should do this now. And then everyone, like you said, everyone followed suit. Everyone followed from there. My ring has to be this many numbers. My ring has to be this carat. If it's not, then you don't love me.
Unfortunately,
He
yeah.
went to Jared. He didn't go to Jared. Oh no, right? So I feel like even like I know like one of the weddings I went to back in the day, one of my friends I was really good with in college, she ironically was able to find her wedding dress at like a secondhand store. Her wedding was at a church, free venue, right? And then I think her auntie and her mom and her grandmother made the cake, right? And I think the only thing that was probably really purchased was stuff off Amazon, like the flowers and the accessories and like maybe the boys' tops because they all was doing purple. And so you're gonna tell me she just spent only $300-400 on her wedding, but you over here trying to convince me as a young lady, like I'm a 7-year old girl. I mean, this is gonna show me how I didn't fit in with. This is why I don't have a lot of girlfriends. I don't know if girls remember we used to have cootie catchers and these little marriage games. I don't know. Do you remember any of these? Maybe. So if you like who you're gonna marry, what the wedding colors are gonna be, how many children you're gonna have, what car you're gonna have, kind of like the game of life, but like essentially like in a paper format. So I remember cootie catcher. You pick a number, and you'll pick like three, 1, 2, 3,
Oh
and
yeah, I
then you
remember
open it and
those.
it'd be like, oh, you're gonna marry Chris Brown, you're gonna have 2 kids,
Oh
living
yeah.
in a mansion with 2 dogs and a Mercedes. Like, why was that projected to me and I'm 7? Why was that the thing to be thinking about and I'm 7? You know? And so going to blaming Disney a little bit on this too. Disney and the fairy tale endings contributed to my us young girls being,
Everybody's a little princess.
yeah, everyone being Prince Charming and they live happily ever after. And so we were, I don't want to use the word brainwash because that's not what it is, but we were shown to think that's what it was supposed to be like. And so then, of course, we get older. We want the fairy tale dress. We want the fairy tale wedding. We want that because that's what they told us. That's what we do. So now we're gonna go in your pockets and ask for $15,000 to $20,000 for a wedding. And if you don't do it, you don't love me enough.
Yeah.
That's messed up.
And I'm gonna tell you this: your glass slippers are right at the door, and you know what? They still look good. You might catch somebody else at the mall. I see. But nah, and the thing is, like, I mean, within standards, like honestly, if you can afford it, that's fine, and that's
Yeah,
something you
yeah,
want
it's
to do.
fine. Yeah,
I mean, if you can afford it and you desire to do something like that,
hmm,
by all means, go ahead.
yeah,
But like you're saying, a lot of things are very unrealistic, and we have unrealistic standards that we set in place for other people,
yeah,
and it's like, well, the shining examples that we see, throughout media, and that's part of it too, because when you do see people that are doing, X, Y, and Z, then it's like, well, you expect everyone to be doing that.
hmm,
You expect this person down the block to be, making 6 figures, and I'm like, well, no, he wasn't presented with any opportunities to that guy that you see over there, so you can't necessarily say he's going to necessarily do that. Not saying he doesn't have potential to do so, but there are a lot of factors beyond one's potential, and they have a key factor on how you actually end up.
right.
So I mean, the things that we do expect from other people do tend to be more outlandish than realistic, and you know if we were all more realistic, honestly, we probably have more people that were together, and less people that are apart, because
That's so true.
you know I
Yes.
don't expect you to do more than what you're going to do. So
Hmm.
you know but
Like I said, with the whole like cooking, gardening, farming thing, like if you want to get with someone and you think she says she can't cook, but you expect her to be Gordon Ramsay, like why would you do
that's an
such a thing?
unrealistic expectation.
Right, right. But you know that at the gate, so it's not a surprise.
But if a good mate know how to bargain shop and DoorDash very wisely,
Hmm.
you know and actually get our food, because I've heard some horror stories that some dashers don't tend to drop it off on.
Oh yeah, I've seen some of
But
those. They're eating people alive.
if you have the ability to actually obtain the meal, then you're still helping in some
Yeah,
aspect,
yeah,
even if you can't cook. So it's like, oh, I that like, oh, she should cook, she should do this, she should do that. Yeah, maintaining the home doesn't necessarily mean that she has to physically do it herself.
hmm,
But it does mean that she is the one responsible for that thing to be done.
right.
Because if you are helping somebody, you're backing somebody, you're supporting somebody, and you are actually cooperating with somebody, then whatever dreams they have as the man, that dream is not only for him, but if you're there with him, you're included. But the moment he feels like you're not contributing to it, he's just going to continue on with his dreams and his goals.
Yeah,
But the thing is, as long as you're being cooperative and and supporting him to reach those goals are for everyone involved and everyone that's a part of it. So,
yeah.
and honestly, it can be something simple as you scheduling appointments,
Oh
or
yeah.
even
Like, hey, don't
basic
forget you
things
got to go to
like,
the dentist in 2 months.
listen, a lot of guys don't necessarily like, we are thinkers, yes, but sometimes we would like to have a little nudge, like a little reminder in a nice, not condescending way.
Hmm.
Like, I love it when people like leave little notes, or like, what happened to leaving notes on the fridge.
Right.
Bust out your sticky boards, guys, and just say, hey, I left this for you, or this needs to get done today,
Hmm.
or at such and such time frame, you have to meet with such and such. You have an appointment here. I'm like, okay, cool. but the helpmate is the person that scheduled that appointment and made the other person, knowledgeable of what's going on. So
Yeah. And
yeah,
he's the guy that never forgets too. So
yeah.
another cool trait, ladies, is he will remember for you. So he is your sticky note. He is your dry erase board. He is your calendar in your phone.
Like I took notes for this podcast, but I don't have them. But you know,
I mean, they're in here.
yeah, I
He
remember.
has them.
Yeah,
He just doesn't have them.
I've gone over most topics that I felt like I wanted to address. So.
Mhm. Is there anything, with that being said, is there anything you think we haven't gone through? Because I'm about to get into some of the juicy stuff.
Oh well, if you got something juicy, go ahead with the juice.
I'm just making sure. I just make sure before I can move on.
No, go ahead.
And what I mean by juicy, I know you guys are probably watching other podcasts, the really heavy ones like Fit and Fresh or whatever the hell their names are. Like how they are heavily into the fact of bringing very attractive women in a room and then try to make them tell them that they're right. In itself is already broken. Like the system is already broken as it is, and they're already in the room trying to make them be their point of view for the men. And I don't know why these men would try to force these women to have a point of view of a man because they're not a man. It confuses me. Like you can't make me think like you. This is not the Steve Harvey book, right? Think like a man. But which I should have you read that? No,
No,
I haven't seen the movie either. But the topic that came up on a one that I feel like had like a really high view count was, what does a woman bring to the table that's not sex? And so you went around the table and tried to ask them, like, what do you bring to the table? What do you bring to the table? What do you bring to the table? Right? And a lot of them gave very nice answers. It was like, I'm very loyal. I'm very caring. I protect my man. I care for him and I want to uplift him and push him to his highest potential. Good answer, right? But then tell me how he come around and flip it on and was like, well, that's not bringing anything to the table. Like, what are you bringing to the table? I'm like, so what is it talking about physicality? Like, he wasn't clear about it. So, in my opinion, what I feel like most women, probably myself included, bring to the table is that we can probably hold the fort down without you and also hold it down with you. Because a lot of times, not in a negative way, but a lot of times I feel like there's it's either older generation, they feel like if the man was not around, then everything would crumble, right? But what if the man gets sick? What if he's out and decommissioned? Are you going to be able to step up and be that for him or for them, rather? So it was just one of those topics. I'm like, why are you not allowing a woman to bring emotions or a mindset to the relationship? It has to be something else too, outside of course, sex. Say it.
Or is my turn?
Yeah.
You want
Now.
me to say something? I mean, well, as far as the whole bringing anything to the table is concerned, quite honestly, I feel like, not to be cliche, but the tables have turned, and
Turns of table.
um,
Got it.
we're not playing the same game that we played before.
Mm-hmm.
And many years ago, yeah, in a traditional sense, more often than not, the man was the provider and the main, leader when it came to the family structure, and the woman would be the support and
Mm-hmm.
support the family. I.e., raising the kids, making sure the kids, because your mom and dad are your first teachers. So more often than not, you should be learning your first lessons from your mom and or your dad. Mostly your mom, because she should be the one that's there the most. And attending to whatever uh, household responsibilities there are, concerned. But the thing is, because of technology and the advancements that we have, neither male or female necessarily have to do as much as they did back, before. And a lot of times,
Yeah.
and the thing is, and I've seen these podcasts too, and they stress that men and women are not equal. No, we're not. Physically, we're not equal. But at the same time, society has created, bridges for us to cross as far as being able to financially sustain, ourselves as individuals. So I feel like when it comes to actually bringing anything to the table, well, honestly, both of y'all should bring your table to the to whatever you have going on. It's not like, hey, I'm gonna put this on the table, see what you got. I'm gonna put this on the table, see what you got. No, you need to bring both your tables to the to the room and put them together and actually build from what you all have already established, because our world has allowed us all as individuals to be able to progress to almost any level that we want. And the different things that we can do to financially sustain ourselves, everybody is getting the ability to do that on their own. So it's like, well, in that situation, you can't really use it as the same platform that they did 150 years ago, because we are now more on a financially a more equal standard, I would say. And because of that, like all of us can, we're both single, we both have our own places, we both have a car, and take care, whatever, necessaries we take care of. So it's like, we're able to sustain ourselves more. So what you should be trying to figure out is how can you do that together and make it more, or at least maintain, the same status that you had. Because if something does go awry, or I don't like you anymore, or whatever happens, or there was some form of infidelity, whatever reason you feel like you want to break off anything with somebody, it is what it is. But if that does happen, then at that point, you're like, okay, well, all right, let's just take the glue off the tables. We tried that, but we're gonna have to separate it. I'm gonna take my table back over here, you take your table back over here, and I'm gonna eat what I had. I'm gonna eat what I had, and that's the thing, because legally, yeah, you could have a prenuptial situation, understood, but it's like non-legally and just in a social aspect, you got to think about it. Like nowadays, a lot of people are in positions where they can just be them, with or without another person. So now, by nature, if you feel like, well, women are hypergamous and men don't really care, this is true. But, that's why I go back to unrealistic standards, is that, well, here's the thing. If you expect this from a certain person and you feel like that you are not going to get that from the environment that you're in, then one, you need to change your environment, or two, not expect this, a person to make so much more than you, or do so much more than you, or have so much more esteem than you. Because, honestly, you know, I feel people are more comfortable with people who are more quote unquote on their level, or within their same realms of culture and ideas. So,
Right.
But
Yeah, because it makes sense. Because even like I said, I love the analogy about like I'm bringing my table and you bring your table. We're gonna put them together and see what we got, and then just make it one big table. I love that. Perfect. But it's like you said, like going back in the day, like you say, okay, I'm gonna be able to do things that you can do, and then you fill in the gap. So I feel like men have their things, and then women were intended just to fill in the gaps or fill in the holes they have. But what if we're both equally doing those? Like we both have the same things. We both work. We both got income. We both are billionaires, whatever. So there's really nothing to feel for each other. You just are better together. It's like, sorry, I'm about to bring up a Dragon Ball Z reference. You know exactly what I'm talking about, right?
what, fusion?
Yeah. So essentially, right? Is that a good example?
In a sense.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you want to go that route,
Because the thing is,
then I wouldn't necessarily. Well, the type of fusion that you're describing with the little hand position, that's the fusion dance. But there's a different form of fusion within that series. If you watch anime from my anime lovers,
I just watched. I see the gifts and the.
You have these Patara rings, earrings. They're Patara earrings.
Right.
And what they came from the gods, and basically by two people putting these two earrings on, they then fuse their entire beings together and exponentially increase the power of two to make it that 10 times, 20 times more than the individuals as a separate being. So
Right. So that's how I feel like a relationship should be. Like you bring your millions, I bring my millions, and our millions are together, and now we're multi-millions. Like, and then if we weren't together, we still be in our millions. It just make the pot bigger, and we just make it where it's elevated, like just like a boss fight. Like when you're playing a boss level in a game, and you're like, they keep evolving every time you beat their first stage, and they somehow come back and have a stronger level, and they're on the second stage. And so, as long as we're both grinding and hustling and doing everything, we should get even more higher and higher in level, and we would even without them, and also together.
It's a good idea.
Mhm.
Very, very ideal. But the
But
problem is that a lot of men don't really care if the woman makes that much more than they do or not. So that's part of it too. So
does anybody care if the woman makes more than the man?
I know I don't. So
Would do you, for people that do you think it's a pride issue that the woman makes more than the man? And if it is a pride issue, or if it's not a pride issue, like what would be, um Shariko, if you're still here, do you care if your spouse makes more than you, or do you care about anything different as far as financials go? I don't know if you're here or not, but if you are, just drop your answers in the chat. Anyone want to answer that question? Because it comes down to like you have insecurity somewhere in most cases, where it's like, if I make more than you, why does it matter? Why are you insecure about the woman being financially more than you?
well, it boils down to I feel like respect.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I think about it, think about this. Do you respect your supervisors more or your coworkers more?
Well, as far as the chain of command goes, the supervisor.
Okay, gotcha. And more often than not, does the supervisor make more money or less money than the employees?
I will hope 9 out of 10 times they should be. I hope they're making more.
Exactly. And more often than not, you will respect the person that makes more. And when it's the reverse for men and women, because of the difference in our biology, the women actually hold less respect for the guy who makes less money than her, and has more respect for the one that does. And I think it's just a natural thing because that's what we gravitate to. Because you got to think about it, like kings and queens and leaders are the ones that attract the best mates and the best territory, and the best resources and the best of the best of the best. So it's like we gravitate towards that as a species because that's what we're used to. You're used to going to the one who has the most. Now,
Yeah,
and
even like food and anything
yeah,
else. Yeah.
anything, like, I mean, you're better off when that person has more. But like I was saying before, because society has kind of balanced out the scales when it comes to how people make money now, it's like, well, I don't have to hold as much respect for you. I don't have to look at you and the same esteem as before, because now I know I can make, if not much more than as much as you, if not more.
Right.
So, and that's the thing, and that's kind of a barrier that has been built. I feel like when it comes to us actually creating more sustainable relationships. So
Right. Yeah. So just like, yeah, those fit and fresh guys, and they was like, what do you bring to the table? Like it just seems like they're more so pinning each other against each other. That's, I mean, of course I get it's a controversial topic or whatever, it gets more views and it gets more eyes on it, and so that's all that really matters. I can't say if they really believe any of that in their day-to-day life, but whatever they show on camera is what we're getting. um yeah, like even I think, like you said, like I think society kind of also kind of pins us against each other too, because like it's intended to be like, anything you can do I can do better, anything you can do, all that stuff. No, you can't. Yes, I can. So it's always been competitive, even before now, where it's like, and then of course women fighting for equal rights and equality and right to vote. And so again, now we're kind of getting closer and closer to be like, we got CEO billionaires, we got CEO women billionaires, we got CEO politicians and women this and LGBTQI women doing that. So it's like we're breaking the barriers now. The ones that you say that were there, I would think anyway. But the barriers to do anything is not there anymore. And then now they don't know what to do. I don't know if guys don't know what to do with women being able to do all have this freedom, I guess, or you know, I think that's how the guys on Fresh and Fit feel. Women should have all this freedom or all this ability to do all this stuff.
Well, I feel like they are advocates of what was traditional and what was natural for us to do. But I feel like technology has changed a lot of how we interact, and it's like as much as one can say that the old way of doing things was the right way. Well, the old way didn't have high speed computers and
Mm-hmm.
highways and infrastructures that we have now. So the difference in the how we live has a big factor on how we actually have relationships with each other. And I commend it. I mean, I'm all for like, hey, well, the guy goes out and he does the hunting and he makes sure he protects the village and everybody's safe, and the woman's that making sure everything is ready for the man when he gets home. And but I get it, but at the same time, it doesn't have to be like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like for the sake of continuing with the species, we should procreate, and we should you know have children, and actually I feel like that is the right pathway for us to continue to be humans, period. But at the same time, we have to find a way to adapt to the time that we live in now, to where we can create those relationships that are sustainable, to maintain life, to keep moving forward, but just in some way of a different way. um
Yeah.
how, I'm not sure,
Right.
but you know there is a possibility that we can find a way to basically redefine the family structure. And because you have a lot of blended families now, I'm a part of a
Oh yeah.
blended family,
Right.
and I was adopted. I got adopted when I was 12 years old. So going from my biological family to my adopted family to more blended family has shown me that you can still have these relationships with people, and not come from the same biological backgrounds, but at the same time maintain those bonds and relationships with other people's being that. But it's a lot
Yeah.
that's has changed,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like if we have to basically as a people catch up to the infrastructures and the technology that we have developed for ourselves to make things easier,
Mm-hmm.
which I think has made us more complacent. So in order for us to continue to move forward as as a whole human being, we have to catch up to the technology that we did develop in order to figure out how to work better together. So
Right. Yeah, just like everything has to adjust to what it's now, because it's like even just using like in a technology standpoint, going from a rotary phone to a smartphone. Of course, like AT&T and Nokia, whoever was out at the time, had to adjust their infrastructure, their wiring. How do they go from the rotary phone to building 5G towers? So they had to adjust to the evolution of change. Just I feel like humans should also do that, but I just think it just takes longer to adjust to that. Like going from having AI generations now and GPT and all that stuff, and things being generated, but just typing a few keywords. So you know what do we do now that we have something new in place and we don't know how to adjust accordingly? So humans are just, I guess, again, we're a little bit stubborn. But 10 years from now, I don't know what it's going to be like for dating, or I don't know what it's going to be like for, are we going to be holograms in a room, like putting on a VR headset and going on dates? You know, like, is that,
I
is,
mean, that could be a thing,
I don't think I'm
I
ready
mean, it
for
look like
that.
people are gonna start dating AI. So I
Oh,
mean,
yeah, and
shoot,
robots and,
yeah.
yeah, we already don't have enough of us to go around. Now I'm going to lose the robots. Well,
They are pretty efficient.
But next question I want to see, or not really a question, is there any things you've seen that have gone viral within like the past 5 years that makes you question society in general? Like anything that went really viral, either relationship related or like, because you always hear stories about like celebrities, like everything from like even like Jada to Will, or like Cardi and what's his name, Offset, how they had their like debacle and things. And so like, I guess the question, like, is there anything that you're like, why did that happen? Why did everything could be going on? Why is that the thing that went viral? Like, why do relationships with celebrities go viral? Why does these, I don't know, Chads and Karens go viral for these moments? Do you have any ones that you can remember that are like,
All I can really think about is the Johnny Depp case.
oh yeah,
With, what was her name? Kate Blanch.
no,
What was her name?
oh no,
What was her name?
oh my god. Can someone help us out? What's her
No.
name?
No, it was one thing though.
Yeah,
And
Johnny
that
Depp.
Johnny
And
Depp case, and y'all remember how the girl and all that stuff transpired. And the only thing I kept saying is like
Amber Heard.
Amber Heard, Amber
Yes.
Heard. There you go, Amber Heard. There you go. Well, I commend Johnny for being as cool as he was, but it did open my eyes to, you know, honestly, anyone can really say anything about you and have you in that situation where your whole reputation is jeopardized because, at the end of the day, they just downright didn't like you. And I felt like that was really unfair. And I'm glad that the case, went the way it did because I was like, who's to say that if I'm with somebody for an extensive amount of time and we both agreed that, what we're doing is what we're doing, and then they try to use that as, a way to get back at me for, doing whatever,
Yeah.
happened, whatever transpired to us to where they felt like they needed to do so. Then I'm like, well, man, that's really kind of making me stray away from, wanting to be in a legal, binding marriage of sorts. So
Because of the potential like backfire or
yeah, I mean, it's just because of she said, hey, I didn't really like the way things were going, and I want to prosecute this person for it. I'm like, really?
that's that's something serious.
So
Yeah.
But other than that, no.
Hmm. And I think about, as far as the most viral moment I can think of is of course, some of you don't know, may not know, I went to school for criminal justice forensic science. So a lot of the cases I always think about goes back to a criminal case. Practically, it was Casey Anthony, and her case was more so about the death, her being accused of killing her boyfriend, and they found him in the shower apparently. So she made up all these lies to say she was in somewhere else where she said she wasn't, and she wasn't there or whatever. But there was this is back when they were I think you can still can. When I was in criminal justice, I used to watch them on TV a lot. And you can actually go online, and it's an open case. So you can actually go and watch and look and see all the videos and all the evidence. I'm mad I don't do that much anymore. But Casey had like 126 photos of them up until 5 months before his death. And so it just, that's one of the cases I'm thinking like that went viral. I don't know if anyone remembers that case, but that went viral for like almost a year, just on constant. And so it makes me always wonder like the mindset of people. We always, people are into like the crime scene stuff. Like, a lot of my coworkers like listen to like the crime scene podcast or like Snapped, and when someone kills their spouse or whatever, and I'm not sure why. But
I think it's all of them trying to be bat women.
yeah, like
they're trying to figure out how to be a vigilante, so just in case they're in that situation, they got their boomerang ready.
Like one of my coworkers told me, she said she like I have a glass of water on my nightstand. It's because if I wake up, I have water. I like to drink water as soon as I wake up, like water and wake essentially. But she said the reason she got glass is that so if she ever if her spouse ever gets into it with her, she can break it and then she has a shard. Right. Yeah, ready to go.
Instant knife.
Right. And I didn't think of it like that. I just have the glass because water just holds better in temperature in glass than plastic. So I didn't even she's over here thinking like I'm like, what does that say about you? Does your husband know? But it's stuff like that. Like I like the psychosis of why people do things to their spouses. It's entertaining. There's
It's called a
podcasts, there's
contingency
movies.
plan. All Batwomen, they got a contingency plan for every last.
That's
dude,
what someone she's like, she's
look
probably
out.
Batman. Yeah, like how Batman has
got
a plan for all.
contingency plan for you, bro. I'm trying to tell you, don't
You think
cross
that-
her, cause she gonna be ready for you. She gonna have the shotgun with the sleeve on it, so when you pull the sleeve off the shot, I'm trying to tell you. Look, she gonna keep a whole lot of metal around. You can be wondering all this metal around.
Mhm.
I'm trying to tell you. She might be ready to bust you upside the head.
I mean, I don't think I really had contingency plans like Batman, but I do know if I was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, I wouldn't be a person to do it quickly. I'll be the person that does something slowly. I don't want to shoot you. I'm gonna take my time, let it go across months.
See, now you're reaching the realms of psychopathy, and that's
No, I'm not cuckoo. I'm just saying because since I do know criminal justice and forensics, I feel like the chances of you getting caught for doing something over a long period of time is slim to none. If you shoot someone, you shot someone. There's no the exchange happened. But if you do something over a long period of time, my criminal justice brain is like, if I do it over a long period of time, it's kind of hard to pinpoint who done it really, you know? That's all. Not that I'm going to. Any of my future potential guys, if 5-10 years from now we're watching this back, I promise that's not how I am.
look out for the torture chamber.
No, no. That's too much money and space.
You got a dungeon, y'all.
No, they take up too much space. I'd rather have an office space or like a game room before I have a dungeon. If I have that much extra space, nah, it's not gonna be filled with dungeon equipment. Never. Viral moments, viral moments get really crazy when especially relationships with viral moments are so crazy because it feels like those are always the ones that come back up. You know, I still think about my first. I don't know if it was my first, but in high school, it was like I think her name was like Scarlett Takes a Tumble. I don't know if you remember that, but she was like a girl and she was dancing. She got on the table and she fell back. I think we probably watched like a million times when we were in high school. But she was dancing. I can't remember what song she was dancing to, but she got on the table and it just threw her back. And the title was Scarlett Takes a Tumble. But it's like for that being my first meeting, but now the people that are our age, what it was then, the younger kids, they're gonna remember all this negative stuff, not the funny stuff. The internet used to be filled with like cat videos and funny dancing videos. Now it's all about the negative stuff, and that's what their memes are gonna remember, unless it's up for the cat on Instagram that's always doing something, blasting his music and late to work. Oh, here's a good one. Dating myths, such as like, who's paying for the date? Like, like I don't know why this is always still a debate, but like you even told me like you feel like women out there know how to play the system to where they know they can get free food.
I mean, I do too, but shoot. I mean, I've been taking out on dates too. Well, I mean, the thing is, when it comes to that, I feel like this: whoever is the person that initiates the date should be the one to take care of the date. Yeah. I mean,
I literally heard that.
Yeah, if you initiated,
That's
then you
my
should be the one to, and it's all about verbiage and it's all about how you actually approach the situation. Because if you say, hey, I want to take us out to blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you want to take us out, okay, well, you take us out.
Right.
But, if you would like to mutually meet someone, here, there, the third, then okay, you mutually meeting, then it's okay to go Dutch. And then if you get down to the bill and somebody offers to take care of it, fine. But if you're mutually meeting each other, you're not initiating a person saying, hey, I'm taking you out versus I'm meeting you here,
Mm-hmm.
that verbiage does actually indicate a difference in the scenario. And what you got to understand is that when somebody comes at you and say, "Hey, I'm going to take care of you," that's all encompassing of taking care of you.
Right.
But if I'm going to meet you somewhere, if I'm going to meet you halfway, if I'm at work and I have a task that needs to be completed, and I'm saying I'm going to take care of this task,
Mm-hmm.
then I'm going to complete the entire task on my own. If I want you to meet me halfway and help me complete this task, then in that scenario, what you have done is set up to where you mutually are equal, accountable for
Yeah.
whatever.
Going, whatever you want to
Yeah.
call it now, going Dutch or
Yeah.
50-50.
Yeah. Halvesies or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of which, they got halvesies at work. I'm stop.
Stop it! Don't. You want to put that out there? That's only you.
Nah, I don't necessarily. I can,
No, I'm not saying you to do anything. I'm just letting you know this is forever.
Yeah.
And I don't think you want to know where we are per se yet.
Nah, I don't know. We'll leave that to be.
Okay.
Would it be?
But it's always crazy because like when you tell me these stories or where like these women shopping your DMs like that. Tell them about the pizza. Can you order me pizza, girl?
Oh. Oh well, ever since I've done more on my social media and created so much more of a following than I previously had. I ain't saying I'm sometimes, I'm not big yet, but I've had people dropping my DMs to um, ask me of things, and I'm interested in meeting people and mutually actually getting to know someone to actually create some kind of relationship of sorts. But I was asked to buy gift cards, um, buy food. I eat pizza. I even had a young lady send me a picture of a fridge that was empty. Now, mind you, these are all probably scams and
Mm-hmm.
and,
Yeah.
and some sort of way of a person to
butcher.
to con me out of whatever finances I have available. But I thought it was interesting because I'm like, more often than not, girls don't really come up to my DM and hit me up and say, "Hey, how you doing?" unless they're looking for some sort of financial compensation. And I don't know if these people are real or not. Honestly, they could be bots. They could be not. I don't really know, but I don't entertain it because I find it that if you're really looking for someone to mutually know that person, that you're not going to ask them to you know you know send you money or buy you things or anything like that. Initially, especially in initially getting to know somebody.
Right.
I mean, my I actually can relate to several individuals who met online, and neither one of them asked for anyone any conversation from the other. They set up a date. The person that set up the date was the one that took care of the date, and that's how they did it. But
I would agree.
yeah, it's interesting.
Because like outside of like the spam girls, I guess the ones that like whatever. How far in a relationship is too soon to ask for some financial help, or can I have, or can you give me X, Y, and Z? How soon is too soon?
If you're not even dating yet, that's entirely too soon.
Mm-hmm. What about when you are dating then?
If you have had
Like
a conversation
exclusivity and
at the point that you have a conversation about your financial situation is when I feel like that door can be open to where if I am in a situation where I do need help and I feel like you would be the person to call on, it will be okay. But if you all do not have a conversation about your financial situations with each other, because I feel like if you do get with somebody
yes,
and I mean, you will want to share with this person, like, hey, because especially if somebody asks you to do something and then you feel like, oh, well, I'm obligated, now I have to adjust my finances or figure out how to, obtain this or do this for that person. But if you have that conversation to say, hey, well, this is what I'm able to do, this is what I can, handle, and this is what I can't. So they know that if there was a situation where that comes up, well, when to ask you, when not to ask you, or whatever. But I feel like you should just have a conversation about it,
right.
simply.
Again, communication.
It works every time, I promise.
Because I know like there will be women that I've either social media or came across, even like in real life, where they're like, oh, this guy asked me out. I don't think he's cute or anything. I think he's cool, but he's taking me out and I'm getting a free meal, right? I've seen that so many times across social media. I've even met people in real life, and I know you know some girls in real life that that's all they do is just waste these guys' time just so they can get a free meal or what have you, which I don't get it. I mean,
Well, like you were saying earlier, a lot of things that we do are conditional.
mhm,
And, I'm not necessarily saying I'm trying to get in your pants the moment I buy you a meal.
right.
But at the same time, do allow me to have the courtesy of knowing that this is not going to be our first encounter.
Hmm.
So, I mean, if I know that, me buying you a meal means that I'll see you again, in my book, sometimes that's enough for, that to happen. But
Hmm.
in a lot of scenarios, I mean, these people don't even plan on seeing you again, talking to you again, or even dealing with you or interacting with you whatsoever. So it's like,
Right.
if that's what it's for and that's what, you're about, then that's what actually discourages people from, going, you know, just I forgot what I was going to say, but
I mean, I guess it's more so like you're going to agree to say, okay, if I take this girl out and I pay for the meal, maybe I have a chance of continuing on to a second, third, fourth, fifth date.
awesome.
But then that also means on that first date, there should be you should identify what's can and cannot continue. Because a lot
Right.
of times I do feel like some of the women that are just saying yes to the date for the food, and then at the date they kind of give off the vibe or the energy that this is probably the last time you're going to see them. And so you kind of should be able to read that. If not, then hopefully maybe there is a second date. Maybe there is a chance. Maybe she is genuinely wanting to go on the date with me.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I free food. I mean, like I said, I have an issue with free food. But personally, for me, from a woman's point of view of that, like the reason why I don't want men to spend money on me is because I know I can spend money. And going back to where I'm like, okay, I can do it myself. But then again, guys wanting to be needed. But I'd rather go Dutch like the first, maybe first 5 dates. I would go Dutch. I would pay my portion, I pay half. Or even sometimes I've done it where maybe like by the fourth or fifth date, I paid the check and they didn't even know it was already paid. Sometimes it's nice to do that for the guy. And I don't know why it seems so taboo, but like you could ask all the guys I've ever met or dealt with that I pay for their meals. You know, why not? Why can't I? And I hold doors open for men. You know that. But guys are like, women should be able to do this too. Or like even people frown upon the idea of like, I remember there was like a compilation of women proposing to men, and all in the comments was like, ugh, like ick. And I'm like, why? Why is that? And so I feel like I my point of view of like I want to buy a guy, I want to pay for the meal. I want to drive us to X, Y, and Z, or because that's the things that I like to do for whoever I'm with. That's my love language. I want to be able to treat you because I know prior to me that not to toot my own horn or nothing, but prior to me, I know there's women that don't do what I do. And so I want to do those things. I want to take you out. Let me rub your feet. Let me pour you your glass of wine. Let me do this for you because that's my love language. And then again, going back to like, sometimes people don't know how to deal with a unicorn. Like, what? A woman bought me a meal? A woman bought me shoes? A woman paid for my electric bill? I'm not tooting my own horn, but I am. I'm just saying. But I just like to do that. That's my love language. I want you to be happy if it flip flopped. You know, I'm treating you how I want to be treated. Because if I know that I would be happy if those things were done to me, I know they would be done. I would want to do them for you. I'm paying the bill today, and then of course you have that guy who's like, "Nah, this is what I'm supposed to do." But like, no, I want to do it this time. And then like guys be like, "Okay, cool, dope, that's what's up." And then there'll be guys like, "Nah, that's not what you're supposed to do." AKA Josh, my ex. He was really traditional. He won't let me do anything. But I'm like, but I want to. That's just the whole thought of like, well, I just want to pay the bill this time. And no, I don't want nothing from you. I just want you to be happy. Because like anything too, like even like you doing things that the person doesn't expect. Like if you don't mind me bringing up the cupcake story, do you care?
Cupcakes,
Cupcake. Did someone want a cupcake?
ice cream.
Ice cream. Do you care if I bring that up? Just my point of view.
Yeah.
I was just asking because it just happened so recently, but he's similar and I when it's like, okay, the female wanted to, they were talking, whatever, and he was like, oh, I want ice cream. I'm in the mood for ice cream, but I'm not sure the other circumstances, but he pulled up on her with some ice cream. Because why not? Like that's dope, right? Like I would love that. And so like in reverse of that, how's that going, by the way? What happened after that? If you don't mind me.
We're just talking.
Okay, just still in talking phase. But it's the whole thought of like, why would you not want to do that for someone else and vice versa? But then you get into those conversations I remember had with people was like, well, you put all this effort into this person and they're not reciprocating because you've had that happen before. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like
again, quite a bit actually.
Yeah,
so.
And again, taking advantage of our kindness or taking advantage of free food or free whatever's in there. That's their dragging you along and waste your time.
Yeah, in actuality, it was her birthday, and
that's what it was.
Some ice cream, so I got her some ice cream for her birthday.
Mm-hmm. Boom, easy. And she wasn't expecting it and didn't think anything about it.
Yeah. She was at work. I just brought her some ice cream.
Hey, here you go. You say you like Rocky Road? I don't know what kind was it.
Chocolate peanut butter.
Chocolate peanut butter. Ben and Jerry's.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's good, actually. Yeah, I could just the peanut butter pieces there are huge. If you haven't had it, I recommend. Not sponsored. And this is gonna be one of my. I love that I ended it with this topic. You want to read it out loud?
Oh. Well, the question is, well, I'll ask the audience first. Okay. Well, yeah. For you, audience. Can you be friends with the opposite sex? Yes or no?
Good question. Here we go. If you're still there, well, you can be friends with anyone in this case. But I'm going to go first just because I feel I'm an outlier when it comes to having majority of my friends are male. No offense. It's not. Women are crazy. Okay. Women are crazy. You know this. Of course you do. Women are crazy. And I don't want to deal with it. Women are crazy, and I know that about women. So since I do have a lot of guy friends, guys are just easier to deal with. And plus, I don't feel like I'm your traditional female either. I like cards. I like sports. I play video games. I don't care about shopping. I don't care about shoes. I don't care about nails and my hair and jewelry and fashion or anything. So I guess at the end of the day, I'm kind of oddly just one of the guys with boobs.
Which is why you still sing.
Stop it. Come on. Okay. But it's the whole thought
of
like.
I ain't trying to give him my homie, dog.
I know, but it's not intentional. It's just who I am. It's not on purpose, I should say. Like, I don't, because half the time, like I told you, going through college, I was the nerdy girl that was in, because you want to know how many times if I had $1 for every time I had a guy that said they wanted my type? And then I was in their face that whole time and nothing ever happened. Oh, I want a girl that watch anime. I want a girl to be able to play Madden with. I want a girl that watches sports with me, football, like any, and then it's like, hello. And then they don't do anything. So I feel like half the time they say they want all these things. And then when you get them, they don't know that, like, what? No, I guess it's not what I really wanted. I guess I really didn't want the homie girlfriend. That's just me. I don't know what else you want me to be. Do you want me not to be I'm a tomboy. I don't know what you want me to do. I'm just chilling in a hoodie right now. I'm not in a dress. I'm not wearing heels. I'm just comfy. I want to be comfy. Trust me, if a girl can slay in the sweatpants and also slay in a dress, is that not a win-win?
I mean, one would think so.
I don't know. So I mean, trust me. When I put on a dress, I kill. I go through my profile when I used to do red carpet events and stuff, wearing skirts and dresses, rompers. I slayed, and then I just want to be comfortable. Do you know how hard it is to wear that stuff? No, no, thank you. I don't want to grow up and then my feet not be feet because I wear heels too much, you know? But it's just a thought of like, I'm the tomboy and I like the things that guys do too. And then they don't want to be with someone that likes those things too. But then they also say they want to be in a relationship with someone that likes the things they like. Like, if one would be completely opposite of you, should I be with someone more on the not on the like probably less on the masculine spectrum. Like you have the masculinity and femininity. Like should I have someone like that's more on a pull away from the masculine point? Because then at that point we'll be opposites. I don't know. Help a sister out.
I could, I would, but obviously we're both still single, so help a brother out. But
I'm helping you guys. He's single. Jarrell Sumter.
yeah, she's single too.
Ty June.
Ty June, all the way, all day. But as far as being friends with the opposite sex, though, in all seriousness, I mean, in most situations, no, platonic relationships don't really work. But I feel like there are a few um, exceptions when it comes to how a person was raised and how they perceive the world around them. Because for myself personally, I do have a lot of female friends and lesser guy friends. So like you,
Yeah.
but they always say, well, if you're friends with a guy, that only means one thing. Yes and no. Yes, as a guy, I'm biologically wired to want to mate with any female in my vicinity. True, but I've been culturally trained to understand that there is a discretion and there is a the etiquette to you know having a mate, and I feel like I can still maintain these relationships and not have the intimacy part of them because I I'm just raised that way. I'm okay with you know women being around, and I'm not necessarily trying to get with all of them. You got a friend, bring a friend, that's cool, but I don't have to get with you. You know what I'm saying? But is this but biologically, yeah, I am wired to want to mate with any female because I'm a guy. That's just how we roll.
Right.
But if you maintain some sort of discipline and actually choose to to be in a celibate situation, then it is. Oh, I feel like it's entirely possible for you to maintain a platonic relationship with the opposite sex, but you have to be disciplined within yourself to do so. But
Like unironically, like we are.
yeah, something like that. Yeah.
I mean, just you're my closest guy friend that I have, and like, yet we're not out here like whatever. I don't know.
Nah, we ain't
No
smacking
offense,
them
he's just not my type.
We ain't smacking them cheeks.
We're not each other's types. That's about it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Wait, we had this discussion.
I'm everybody's type.
No. Like I can pick him up and put him in my pocket.
I don't know about all that.
Yeah, I can.
I don't know about all that.
Yeah, I have a sleeper bill. You can't see it. Look, yo, you see my progress photos.
They think they so strong until they get knocked down, but it's okay.
But you just gotta get back up.
Yeah.
And then come back 10 times stronger.
You don't have to.
Anywho, but
well,
no.
All jokes aside, though.
Yeah, we're really cool.
I still love you, though.
I love you. Love you, mean it. But no, it's like there's a lot of guys that don't think they could be friends with women. Like even I want to bring up a YouTuber just because I don't know why he was the first guy to think of. KSI, aka JJ from London. He's a London YouTuber. You probably know him, Misfit Boxing. And are you familiar with KSI?
I think so, maybe.
He has locks, and he does music. He got famous off FIFA. He's with the Sidemen. He's from Nigeria. Yeah. So he literally on all his stuff, he said it a trillion times in his career. He can't be friends with women. At least he knows that about himself, right? A. And B, he would express the fact of like, yes, you're always gonna be thinking about other things when you're around said person. So he knows that about himself. Good on him. I think he's also in his 30s. I
Yeah.
think he may have just turned 30.
Yeah, in his 30s, I think.
And so yeah, he will be the first one to be like, yeah, I can't be friends with females. There's no way. He says there's no way, but I know we both know there's way. You just got to know yourself and not be.
There's probably just no way from him. So, you can't knock anybody for that. So,
But then also not knock people for doing it either,
Yeah,
because I'm
that's
sure you
true.
get your guy friends are always like, how are you friends with these girls? And I always be like, how are you friends with guys? How are you doing this?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know. I just do. I don't have an answer for like how are you friends with guys, and plus I feel like I get along with you guys more.
Well, what the thing is that what they have to understand is that when I am friends with a woman, I'm not in the situation where I am the one paying for everything or I'm the one that's taking us out. Like it's not
Yeah.
that kind of, relationship. Like a lot of times they will pay for the dates or they will pay for this or they'll take, set the reservations or do whatever, so it's a mutual thing, honestly.
Hmm.
But now, if I was the guy that I was like, yeah, I have friend girls, and yeah, I'm always paying for every time we go out, and I'm always buying the drinks, and I'm always taking care of the bill. No, then in that situation, I would probably be silly doing so.
Hmm.
I would probably be in the simp category.
Yeah.
But I'm no simp, and at the same time, I take free meals too. I surely do,
That's insane.
and I eat good.
Good. Like Cheesecake Factory good.
Like, yeah, didn't spend a dime. Thank you.
I don't know why I remember that out of all the places.
Because you were there.
Right.
And I didn't spend a dime.
Right.
Not at all.
Oh yeah, what's your sign again?
Aquarius.
He's Aquarius, ladies. He's an Aquarius, just so you know.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I'm a unicorn Aquarius, so whatever the natural height that you hear, it's not quite always.
Exactly.
It's not always like you heard.
Well, I'm a Virgo, and I am the poster child of a Virgo. If you right now go online, Google what a Virgo is, that is me. So it's not that hard. But I always tell people, for me, when it comes to dating me or being in a relationship with me, there's only four things. There's only four things I care about: love, attention, food, and exercise. If you give me attention and food, I'm fine. Give me attention and food and exercise. That's pretty much my minimum. I just need those three. That's all I need. I'm not that complicated. I have the one thing to be a perfectionist. That's my trait. Those are pros and cons to that. But just also know I'm always the one making the plans and make sure they go fluidly. That's my trait for you guys. Yeah, just feed me, give me attention, and exercise. I don't need that much. Really easy. Are you pretty easy? As far as
Man, I'm basic.
basic. As far as
I'm just basic, bro. I'm like, look, I'm a cheeseburger, just meat, bun, and cheese. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't need no extra toppings. I don't need no extra sauce. I'm just basic. But no, simply like basically put it to you like this. I'm the type of person that whatever energy you give me, that's the energy that I'm gonna work with. And but at the same time, if I give you more energy, if I'm putting more into you, all I want you to do is reciprocate that and give more of, whatever. I'm not saying you have to match my energy. That's not what I'm saying.
Mhm.
I'm saying that if you're giving a certain amount of energy and I'm giving you a certain amount of energy, if I pump more energy to you, then you should be able to reciprocate that and pump more energy into me, into what, I'm trying to do or what I'm trying to build or vice versa. So
Mhm.
that's pretty much all it is. Man, you don't have to cook for me, clean for me, stuff like that. But if I ask,
Mhm.
don't be upset. just help me out, you know.
Right.
But I'm not gonna hold anybody to live a traditional standard life because, quite honestly, if you want to call Molly Maid, just let me know how much it is, and if it's in the budget, all right, Molly Maid about to clean today.
Right.
But at least you got the house clean.
Right.
Thank you.
As long as it got done.
You know, it got done.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you who said, you know, you made it happen, so there go, you are the one responsible for the cleaning. So
right.
There you go. If that's what your silver lining, if that's where your compromise is, then so be it. But you know, it's really simple. You know, just give me as much energy as you feel like. You know, if I'm basically just try to match me on the level of if I'm giving you something, then try to just reciprocate. You know.
Right. And I agree with that too, because it's one. It can't be one sided. It doesn't work if it's one sided.
I can punch a wall all day, but I promise you, my hand is going to be the only one hurt.
Right. Right. I love that. And just to wrap things up a little bit, some red flags or some toxic traits. I can start on a red flag for me is that you knew what you were getting into as far as you knew who I was and you know who I am and what I do, and then get mad for just being myself when you already knew what you were getting into beforehand. That's a red flag to me if you backpedal, essentially. You know, because like you know me, my mom even something. You know, I'm scheduled to the T. I wake up at this time every day. I go to bed at the same time almost every night. I go to workout after work at the same time. He knows where my transition periods are, like when it's time to catch her when she's in between all my hoopla. I have a schedule. And if you're gonna be with me or know that about me and you know I have a schedule and then get mad if I don't break it or if I it's complicated for me to do, don't backpedal on me. That's my red flag. I gave you all my cards, you know exactly what you're getting into, and then be like, nah, I changed my mind. That's my red flag. Do you have a red flag or like a toxic trait? Besides, cheating or something, besides like the obvious.
Oh well, in the beginning of meeting somebody, a red flag for me is anybody that basically love bombs me. If you love bomb me and I first met you, then I already know you're not.
Like saying I love you.
Well, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Before they even know who you are.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying you can't love somebody you don't know, but it's kind of offsetting when I text you, "Hey, how you doing? Oh, I love you so much," and I'm like, "Hey, I just literally just started texting you today. I don't
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
understand how you in love."
Is that them trying to get over, a way of getting over on someone?
Possibly, it could be a way of them trying to you know lead you into a false sense of security as like to get you to do something for them. So
Yeah, because they don't have time. You always hear like when you your parents would be like, "Hey, mom, I love him." Be like, "What do you want?"
mhm,
Because you wouldn't be doing that otherwise. Because yeah,
exactly.
so yeah, red
I'm not
flags.
saying it's bad to love,
No, it's just
but
one of
don't
those.
don't love bomb me on the first date.
Like just be my person. Just be my person for the time being. That's it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just be cool.
it's insane, but yeah. Oh yeah. Side note: if you ever in my podcast, if you ever wonder who voice does my mid rows, that's your boy.
I'm the guy.
That's the guy.
J Mike all day.
I can't even, I hear this all the time. And I feel like I can't even do it. Um, Jeez. She might save me from myself. Let's tune in. I know that part. I can't remember the beginning.
I don't know.
Happy Sunday, everyone. Um, Happy Sunday, everyone. It's your girl, Ty June, and she might tell you everything, and she might tell you nothing, but she might. I don't know because you got so many tapes, and I play with
It's
them.
fun. Like you have the recording. It's cool.
But I may edit it later in somewhere in here, and all that fun stuff. So
Yeah, man.
yeah, we've been going for 2 hours.
Really.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I just looked at the timestamp. That's what
Yeah, I
I
figured
saw
this
the
was.
2 hour. I knew it was gonna probably get there just because of
It was like,
the bullet points.
yeah, you wanted to drag this one out, didn't
Not necessarily. It was just the thought of like I knew how long because I've done like when I do podcasts by myself, I know how long it takes for a topic, like a page, for example. Like in my book, like each page is probably 10 minutes. And if I have like 5 of those pages, I already know it's an hour show or whatever, you know? So yeah, that's about it. So I just knew based off the topic. So I'm like, this is gonna have to be this is gonna probably be an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on what's happening. Because you can't time, back and forth, essentially. So all
you? Yeah, man.
right. So do you know my outro? Not the words, but do you know what I do at the end of my outros?
Yeah,
I do a snap. So you're gonna snap with me when I finish?
I got a snap with me.
Yeah, why not? You don't have to.
I think that's your thing. I think you should,
Okay.
do your thing.
Well, again, guys, and check out the link in the description for my donation link for the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. I am doing the Community Walk Out of the Darkness Community Walk in November, and the fundraiser is until the 31st of October. So any amount helps. And then anything after that will still go towards the American Suicide Prevention Foundation. So just keep going in there. It could be $1, it could be $5, anything like that. And I'm also walking every day too. I'm guaranteeing to do a mile every day as well, towards those moments to realize that we're not alone and we can do this together. And before I even leave as well, I do want to have just like a 5 seconds moment of silence for all the human beings overseas going through a lot. And I just wanted a 5 minute, 5 second, I say 5 second, but like a 5 second moment of silence as devices are interrupting this moment.
I know, right?
But yeah, there's a lot going on in the world, and I know if you've been watching anything or on any social media or on any whatever platforms you can think of, Twitter, there's a lot of videos and a lot of things going on. Like I said, I'm very Switzerland. I have no sides. All I care about is human beings and life and love, and it doesn't matter what and who you are. But I just want to 5 seconds of silence for them. And so I hope everyone's okay over there. Every day goes by, it seems to get worse and worse, but I hope things do get better. And yeah, this is Sai June. Thanks for tuning in. You made it to the end. I'll see you next weekend.